Good morning. My name is Pastor Mohsen, and today I'm going to talk about falling humanity. I choose this topic today because it's close to New Year of Persian New Year. So, are you new? Because the Persian year is about to close, and tomorrow is another year, and another century actually begins. 1401. It would be 15th century, 1 5, century 1 5, 15th century. Okay, but tomorrow I have another sermon, but it would be in Farsi language because as a message related to Nowruz is about destiny and substitution. But enough of it tomorrow. Let's focus on today. Falling off humanity starts when they get the control from God and they define everything by themselves. Somebody said, I'm going to get control of out of God's hand. He wants to get the control. So falling off humanity started when they get the control. And they say multiplication is from God. So they defined good and bad, they define everything by themselves. I know. God said you can name it whatever you want, but getting control and manipulate it the way you want is not from God. You cannot get control and name it whatever you want. And multiplication sometimes is not from God. Because when the roots of manipulation grows and even they encourage, they say, oh, spring up. The root of manipulation and layers of deceive, when it grows, is a multiply. The lies and gossip multiply to every member of the church and every church. So it's not from God. Hypocrisy is not from God. So multiplication of hypocrisy is not from God. But in the start from somewhere. In the start when they get the control. And even they define friendship, what they want. They say, this is the kind of friendship that I want. I went to a church in Toronto and they defined fellowship of what they want. They perform something and they say this is fellowship. It was not fellowship. Fellowship is something else. When you get control and when you define everything you want, the way you want, is not from God. A falling of humanity start from there when you get the control from God. So friendship doesn't mean a staying chain. Even if you are best friend forever, there is no chain. You have free will. You can get out. So don't define by yourself. That's what happened in Garden of Eden. That's what happened in heaven. Adam and Eve get the control from God and they define everything by themselves. Even they had a dictionary for themselves. They say, I say this means this. When I say this, it means that. When you get control from God, falling of humanity started from that. It was in the Garden of Eden who they ate forbidden fruits. I'm not talking about what kind of fruit it was. I don't care. Maybe it was apple. I don't care. I really don't care. What kind of apple, what kind of fruit it was. Maybe it's not fruit at all. I don't know. But the start of falling of humanity start from that. When they ate that fruit, they start to noticing their nakedness. They didn't have any neighbor. So when they didn't have any neighbor in heaven, nobody could tell them that, oh, you are naked. I saw you naked. They didn't have any curtain because they didn't have any neighbor. They were alone by themselves. But they noticed that they are naked. So they went to the trees and get the leaf and cover themselves. But God said, it's not enough. Let's cover you completely. I want complete clothes. Leaf is not enough. They were alone. Then God come to the garden and they hid themselves. They didn't have any home to hide themselves in their home, but they hide behind the trees. And God said, why are you hidden here? Here is not a place for hidden. It's not a hidden place. Garden is not a hidden place, and heaven is not a hidden place. So why do you hide in the garden? Why do you hide in your farm? Why are you hidden here? They said, oh, because we are naked, we are ashamed. I know you are ashamed, but you are not supposed to be ashamed. After falling of humanity, you notice your nakedness, then you are ashamed. But you are not supposed to be ashamed. Then God said, why are you hidden? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you now? Of course, in that garden, there was no echo. And then God said, where are you? And they said, oh, we are here, but we are hidden because we are ashamed. We are naked. And when we heard you are walking, we hide ourselves. And God said, can you tell me who said that? Can you tell me who said that you're naked? You didn't know that. So, and you don't have anyone else to tell you that you are naked. Can you tell me who said that? You are naked. And they didn't have any answer because nobody told them. Nobody were there to tell them. And God answered himself. Have you eaten from the tree of knowledge of good and bad that I told you not to eat? And blaming and Sarzanesh started from there. Adam said, oh, this woman gave me the fruit. And women said, oh, Satan forced me to do that. Let me say one sentence in Farsi language. سرزنش از اونجا آغاز شد که آدم به جای اینکه خودش مسئولیت رو قبول بکنه گفت من مسئولیت هیچ چی رو قبول نمی کنم، من مسئول هیچ چی نیستم. آدم اینجوری گفت. آدم مسئولیت قبول نمیکنه. آدم گفت من مسئول هیچ چی نیستم. این زنی که به من دادی بیاد کنار من بشینه منو وادار کرد، منو مجبور کرد که این میوه رو بخورم. خودم رو کرد به زنه. و تو چرا این کار کردی؟ زنم برگشت گفت که شیطان منو گول زد که میوه. Nobody accept the responsibility of their own fault. They blame somebody else. Thus, falling off humanity starts. And then, now the serpent was Satan in the form of serpent. Satan was in the form of serpent. Now the serpent was more crafty than any of the wild animals the Lord God had made. God himself made serpent. God himself made serpent and Satan. He said to the woman, did God really say, you must not eat from any tree in the garden? The woman said to the serpent, we may eat fruit from the trees in the garden, but God did say, you must not eat fruit from the tree that is in the middle of the garden, and you must not touch it, or you will die. You will not certainly die, the serpent said to the woman. For God knows that when you eat from it, your eyes will be open, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil. See, God told them, you will die. They didn't believe it. Believe me. They died. They didn't know that. It's gradually death, and a certain death, because they kicked out of heaven, and they had to do whatever they want to do to earn their living by work. Right now, we have to work. To live, we have to work. God has a job for me and for you. But in the heaven, there was no job. In the heaven, there is no job. They think that I know there is no job in heaven. No job at all. And so, if you feel God has a job for me, it means that falling of humanity means that God has a job for me. If we were in heaven, God didn't have a job for me. Because of falling of humanity, God has a job for me and you. That's sign of falling of humanity. God said you will die, and it happened. The relationship broke down. The relationship that God and human had broke up. And they didn't have any relationship since then. They cried. No, God, please, no. But God said, you had the one choice, and you made one choice, and that choice has consequences. You will die. For sure, you will die. Sometimes pastors and leaders of the church doesn't want you to know that between good and bad. what is good and what is bad. They say eat, eat, eat. And then when you eat, you recognize between good and bad. Sometimes pastor doesn't want you to eat. Because if you eat, you recognize between bad and good. So eat as much as you want. Feel free to eat. But there is good food and there is bad food. I was reading Bill Bright 10 Steps, and in that book, there was example. In that example, there was two horses. So you can on the saddle of one horse or on the saddle of the other horse. There is two horses. That horse eat good food, healthy food. That horse ate junk food. One horse ate McDonald's, go to McDonald's every Sunday. They go to McDonald's and eat McDonald's. One horse did that. And one horse goes to salad, ate salad. One horse ate salad. And this is healthy food, and this is bad food. For sure, McDonald's is a very bad food. For sure, McDonald's is a very bad food. Everybody knows that. But some addicted to junk food, they go to McDonald's. That's why McDonald's still exists. Okay, so in this horse, the rider of that horse, you'll be on the saddle of this horse, on the saddle on that horse. They pull something in the middle. There is a box in the middle, and they pull. Which one you think is a winner? If you feed the McDonald more and more and more and more, or if you combine those, or don't eat any McDonald at all. Whatever you feed more, he will win. Don't give salad, don't give any food to that horse that you are on the saddle. And go and put all the McDonald on the other horse that you are on the saddle. McDonald will win because you didn't give any food on that horse. That's real life. That's real life. If you want to win in a spiritual life, eat a spiritual fruit. Ignore the pastors, what they say, pastors. Ignore what the pastors say. Ignore the teacher of the church. Eat for yourself. Eat healthy food for yourself. Prepare your own food. You don't need any pastor to pray for you. You can prepare your food. And then you will understand and you will recognize bad and good. Oh, that was a start of falling of humanity. That is why humanity falls. When she believed the lies of the Satan himself. When you go and sit in a church and believe what the pastor says, you believe and you fall. because you believe in lies of the Satan. Whatever you are high, your falling is harder. There is an explosion when you fall from very high. And was last year or 2 years ago. There was one of the leaders of the Hillsong Church get fired. Leaders of very mega church get fired because he was out of morality. Because he didn't his job very well. That's why. That's why he get fired. Boom. یک انفجار یک explosion happened. What? One of the Hillsong's leader get fired? Yes, exactly it happened gradually. It's not all of a sudden. It's not. No. You see the result sudden, but it's not sudden. چو معمار بنهادش خشت اول را کج تا ثریا میرود دیوار. You may say, oh, it's the one thing, it's one lie, it's a white lie. I can say a white lie, but it grows. Lies, gossip, manipulation, hypocrisy, and all gather up. They grow, and all of a sudden, an explosion happens, and everything perish. Oh, also, we discovered the start of falling of humanity. Now, let's continue. It was the first drama and the first blaming others. He said, I'm not responsible for anything. Adam and Eve didn't believe God, who said, you are going to die. Me, I'm not going to die. I'm going to live 100 years. And I pass my ministry to generation and after generation. Me, I want to leave a legacy. That's what happened. You don't believe God, you believe lies of Satan. I said they start dying from inside, and they didn't, and they not know it right now. They don't know. They are dying from inside. When you go crooked, and when you go in crooked ways, you go all the way crooked. I know. چو معمار بنیاد خشت اول را کرد تا ثریا میرود دیوار کرد. It is the root of all everything. That falling of humanity is the root of everything. Sometimes they say money is the root of all evil, but falling of humanity is the root of all evil. That's why every child, when they born with sin. They are sinner. Sin is in the blood of every human. Sin is in the blood of every human. گناه تو خونشه. این گناه توی خونشه. باور کن. They transfer the sin to their children after children. As in blood. The fall of man explain the persistence of human evil and explain what happens in the church right now. Maybe you are questioning, you are worrying, wondering what's happening in the church right now. Falling humanity explain everything that happened in the church right now. If you go back to the original sin, you can explain what happened in the church right now. When God created Adam and Eve, he gave them a choice, and from very start, there was no obligation to. Maybe some people say that God of New Testament is different from God of Old Testament. When you see in the Old Testament that God ordered to kill and nobody to survive, God ordered them, kill them all, kill them all. Don't keep anybody alive. Kill them all, kill everybody, and don't let them live. It's in the Old Testament. You can read it for yourself. But it's the same God in the New Testament. We see from very start that God didn't force Adam and Eve to do anything. There was no obligation. There is no must. There is no have to. ما باید نداریم. نه در مسیحیت نه در هیچ دین خدایی نباید باید وجود باید نداریم اصلا باید با خدا جور در نمیاد. When God created Adam and Eve, they had free will, and still they have free will. There is no have to, there is no must in Christianity. Guys, you guys, listen to me. There is no have to, there is no must in Christianity. I know. Some teachers of the church manipulated into, oh, no, I say have to, I have to correct my mistakes. They cover up what mistake they made. They cover up with another lie, another manipulation. It's all cover up the lies. And even today, there is no have to or must in Christianity. If somebody tells you you must do this, don't listen to them. Ignore them. Just ignore them. Don't listen. Just ignore anybody that said you have to. Ignore them. Know it for sure is not from God. Your conscience should be free of any guilt, because some churches, they want to inject to your mind that you are you do something wrong. No, there is no have to, there is no must. So your conscience can be free of guilt. But when Adam and Eve kicked out of heaven, their destiny changed. That's why today I'm going to talk about destiny, سرنوشت. Destiny can be changed by our choices. If you have one choice, and that one choice, change your destiny. Believe me, just believe in me and believe me. Your destiny is in your hand. You can change your destiny. میتونی سرنوشت رو عوض بکنی. میتونی سرنوشت رو عوض. And even today, we suffer from that turning point. Adam and Eve did one thing, and we are still suffering from that one thing. So be careful. Be careful what you do, what you say, because not only yourself can suffer from that, your children can suffer from what you do and what you do. Believe me. Because گناه تو خونشه. Okay, I'm sure they regret what they did. I'm certain they regret what they did, but they didn't want to accept it. Denial is part of the humanity. Me, I don't make any mistakes. me, I don't accept any responsibility. Denial is a part of humanity. That's why it started falling of humanity in heaven. That's become part of the human. Get away from someone who forced you to do something. It's not from God. Ignore them. Just ignore them. Don't let anybody to push you in certain direction. Don't let them. اجازه نده. اجازه نده. اجازه نده. Human choice caused a separation between God and himself and define history of humankind. When I was researching for this sermon, I encountered interesting things. Sometimes those who think they are wise and they don't make any mistakes makes the worst mistake possible. Adam and Eve, they believe lies of Satan and they say, oh, حتما یه چیزی میدونه که میگه. شیطان یه چیزی میدونه که میگه. They believe in the lies of Satan and said, oh, beautiful. This is very beautiful. And I can increase my knowledge. They eat. God specifically told them not to eat. They believe lies of Satan. And what happened? They fall from heaven. So be careful. Who do you listen to? Don't believe everybody. Don't believe me. Actually, don't believe me. I said in the sermon, believe me. But at the end, I said, don't believe me. Go research for yourself. Don't believe me. Don't believe in me. Go research for yourself to recognize between truth and false. Peace of God be with you all. That's enough. Enough. Enough.